Welcome back, party people. I hope you're all having a lovely time. So, this is episode, what we're on now? 6, I think. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6th time that Michael Masi and the other at least 9 people in FIA Race Control have demonstrated that they know the safety car procedure, the rules, what they are, and why they are what they are. Okay, this is where Michael Masi has been the race director. This excludes the 5 events where he was apprentice race director under Charlie Whiting. This is from 2019 onwards. So this is the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix. We're on lap 26 at this stage of the race. You can see on data view there are 3 lapped cars, which are Nicholas Latifi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Roman Grosjean. He's not on fire in this race, he's running last. So, what this actually looks like on track. Now, just so that you're aware of the intervals, Latifi is 10 seconds behind Russell, although the leader, Bottas, has passed Latifi, but he's not yet got up to Russell. Okay, but Latifi is only 10 seconds behind Russell, his teammate. Can't see what Raikkonen's interval is, but Grosjean is 30 seconds, 29.8 seconds behind, I believe, Raikkonen. What does this look like on tracker view? Let's turn the volume down because it auto plays as soon as you switch screen. And I'll pause it there. So we can see the 3 lapped cars are Latifi, which is the blue dot in between Bottas and Hamilton. And then we know that Grosjean has been lapped, which is the grey dot at turn 6. He's behind Sainz at the moment. Sainz is in 7th. And we know that Raikkonen was in the pit. I don't know if he's retiring or whether it's just a tyre change. We'll have a look. We'll see what happens. So Raikkonen's emerged back on track. Where we're going to see Raikkonen's burgundy dot. It's saying he's back on track. So there he is. He's behind Hamilton. So what we need to see happen, there's going to be a safety car deployed. What took place was, who was it? Kevin Magnussen, I believe it was. He span out at turn 3, and therefore his car stopped. So and the car was sat there, so they deployed the safety car. So the safety car will pick up the leaders at some point. In fact, what is likely to happen, if I remember correctly, it doesn't pick up the leader. Giovinazzi looks like he's just gone into the pits. Yeah, you can see on the bar down the right hand side of the screen which driver's going to the pits. So Russell's just gone into the pits. Okay. Looks like Bottas has just gone in. You'll see him pick up on that little section. Looks like Hamilton's just gone in. You can see as they're coming around about turn 10, if their dot disappears, then they've gone down the pit lane. They're not showing as being on track. And then it will say on that bar down the right hand side who's in the pits and who isn't. So we'll see what Albon does. Albon's pitted. What about Norris? Norris looks like he's gone in the pit. Perez looks like he's gone in the pit. So it looks like they're all going in for fresh tyres rather than trying to leapfrog the other drivers by staying out on track. They're all decided that it's actually more advantageous at this stage of the race to get a cheap, as in a low time duration tyre stop rather than just get track position with cars bunched up behind you but on fresher tyres. So it looks like all of the lead cars have just gone in the pits one after the other, changed cars, retained track positions. So there's been very few changes in that regard. But what has that then done with regard to lapped runners? So what we know regarding lap runners is when Bottas and Hamilton pitted, then at the time there was Latifi, and Raikkonen, who were lapped at that stage, but now because Bottas and Hamilton pitted, they are ahead of Bottas once Bottas emerged from the pits. So what is going to happen? They're all lapping behind the safety car. So you've got Giovinazzi, Latifi, and you've got Raikkonen. Russell's shown as being there as well. Okay, Giovinazzi, Russell, Raikkonen. Latifi's disappeared. Okay, Latifi, who had become unlapped at the point that Bottas and Hamilton pitted, but was still held back by the safety car. He's gone into the pits now, and so it's a bit of a poor pit stop really, because he's dropping down the field at the moment, but he is going to get released, and you'll see him there. He is. He's back on track out now behind the pink dot of Perez. Okay, so for temporarily he was effectively ahead of the leaders, and now he's behind them again, lapped. What's happened now is the safety car has waved past the cars that were effectively the ones that it had picked up ahead of picking up the leaders. All right, so it's waved them by. So you can see Giovinazzi, Russell, and Raikkonen disappearing off. What you've got left now, sat behind the leaders, is you've got Grosjean, which is the grey dot. He's the fourth car back in this snake, and you've now also got Latifi. As I say, Latifi was temporarily unlapped when Bottas and Hamilton pitted, but then Latifi went into the pits himself the following lap and got passed by all these cars whilst he was in the pits. So they're now going to release the lapped cars of Grosjean and Latifi, and we're going to see how long is given to these to enable them to try to restore sporting fairness to these competitors. The purpose of this is so that no competitor loses out due to a safety incident which requires the deployment of the safety car. So what you should see very shortly is the grey dot of Grosjean move forward through the field, and the blue dot of Latifi, which is currently, well, it's flickering with that pink dot of Stroll. So you should see them waved through very shortly, well, hopefully very shortly, when they're released, and we'll see then how this unfolds. Now remember the gaps before the safety car was deployed. At the point in time where the incident occurred, there were the gaps that were in situ. Now, because of Latifi's pitting and the way he did, he kind of lost himself. He lost places. He wasn't the last running competitor. Grosjean was the last running competitor. But due to the Williams pit stop strategy, they've lost places. That's their own fault. The last running competitor was cast adrift of the field by 30 seconds at the point in time where the safety car was deployed. That was Grosjean. Okay, Grosjean's now been released. You can see the grey dot been released. We're waiting to see the blue dot of Latifi make it past the front runners and the safety car. So this is the lap on which they are released. They were the only two cars that were lapped at that stage. They're released. So that the lap that they're about to go on when they cross the start-finish line, which is where that checkered flag is that Latifi is passing now, when they cross the line, this will be the mandatory lap that they have to do to give these released cars the opportunity to try and catch the back of the pack to restore sporting fairness. The safety car can come in at the end of this lap, and they can go racing when they cross the start-finish line next time around, providing that those released cars have restored themselves to a situation of sporting fairness in this event. Now, that equates to, ideally, them being part of that safety car snake. Ideally, we want to be in a situation where it's first down to the last remaining competitor in the correct race order. Okay, ideally somewhere in the region of half a second to a second in between each and every competitor, so that each competitor can challenge the car in front, but is also susceptible to being challenged from the car behind. It's the same as a start of the race situation, and it is what is attempted to be achieved at every resumption of racing in a motor race. Okay, that certainly after a safety car or after a red flag situation, fair conditions are required for the resumption of racing. Now, if that is going to take what is deemed to be an unacceptably long time to achieve, the rules dictate that 1 lap has to be given. So we know the wording of the rules is once a last lapped car has passed the leader in the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. Okay, but what we also know is that the race director has it within his discretion to keep that safety car on track if he deems it the correct thing to do, to give the opportunity for those released cars more time with which to catch the back of the pack. But if after that 1 mandatory lap he looks at the situation and is content, or feels that by the end of that lap he's content that those drivers that have been released have not been left in a disadvantaged position compared to how they were prior to the safety incident that required safety car intervention, he can be content to resume the race. So the race is just about to resume. Valtteri Bottas is just going over that start-finish line and the race is about to resume. What you can see is this: Romain Grosjean, who previously was 30 seconds adrift of the field, okay, in last place. He has all but caught up with Kimi Raikkonen, okay, at turn 9 here. Nicholas Latifi is now the last running competitor. That has been caused by the Williams pit strategy. They pitted him at a time in that safety car period where he lost positions, okay, and he is now, you'll see when I cut to data view at this moment in time, okay, this is the start of the lap. Bottas starting the lap. Nicholas Latifi is 14 seconds behind Grosjean, due to effectively due to the Williams pit strategy of losing all them track positions. Okay, so ideally you'd want to see Latifi right on the back of Grosjean. Previously, prior to this situation, the last remaining competitor was 30 seconds adrift. This time the last remaining competitor is 14 seconds adrift. So has that last remaining competitor been disadvantaged by the deployment of the safety car? Well, the answer is no. And the reason for him being in that position is his team's strategy. So really, it's the Williams strategy that have got themselves to blame for the fact that they're in this position. The race director has used the rules of the sport, carried out the procedures correctly, and then when deciding whether to use his discretion to use another lap of the race as a safety car lap to give Latifi the chance of closing those 14 seconds, he's looked at that, decided that it was his own team's fault that he's in that situation, and so he's not going to waste another lap of the race to enable Latifi to crash. I don't know why I use that word with Latifi. In order for Latifi to catch the back of the pack. Anyway, it's getting late. This is about the 7th video I've done this evening. I'm having a lovely time. Anyway, that is the purpose of the safety car. That is how you use the safety car rules. That's how Michael Masi uses the safety car rules, because he knows what he's doing, as evidenced in the previous videos, in this video, and in the other videos that are to come. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's not just Michael Masi that knew this, it's at least 9 other guys in FIA Race Control. So this human error How many people made that same human error? Because none of them said to Masi, oh, you can't do that, Masi, and this is the reason you can't do what you did. That's called systematic. That's called a group of people all being complicit with a certain action. But the world was told it was just a human error. Anyway, see you next time.